Global Weather Forecast News. Good day to all our viewers following the Global Weather Forecast News. We are delighted to be back with you in this familiar time slot. Ladies and gentlemen, the middle days of September 2025 are presenting us with a remarkably dynamic and complex weather picture. Stretching from the Caribbean Sea and the Atlantic Ocean all the way to Canada in the far north. The main focal point at this moment is the development and evolution of Tropical Storm Gabrielle, a system drawing the attention of both meteorologists and residents living in potentially affected regions. Alongside this, prolonged heavy rains are causing flooding across several Caribbean nations, while in North America, particularly Canada, weather patterns are shifting markedly as the country transitions from late summer into early autumn. In today's program, we will bring you a full overview of these important meteorological developments. We'll analyze in detail the situation of Tropical Storm Gabrielle, its current location, its intensity, the potential for it to strengthen into a hurricane, and which areas need to be especially alert in the coming days. In addition, we will review the ongoing heavy rains and flood warnings across many Caribbean islands, and update you on Canada's latest weather, where a mass of cold air is moving in, sending temperatures plunging and clearly signaling the change of seasons. Tropical Storm Gabrielle in the Atlantic. Ladies and gentlemen, after days of close monitoring, experts report that Tropical Storm Gabrielle is currently sustaining average wind speeds of about 80 km per hour, 50 miles per hour. Although Gabrielle's circulation is not yet well structured, its center still features a clear low-pressure zone, accompanied by clusters of strong thunderstorms continuously flaring up. One of the main factors hindering Gabrielle's intensification has been mid-level dry air combined with wind shear aloft, which disrupts the ability of storm clouds to organize and persist. However, the latest dynamic forecast models, including GFS, ECMWF, and several ensemble systems, suggest that in the coming days, as upper-level conditions improve, Gabrielle may strengthen further, possibly even reaching hurricane status. A widely discussed scenario is that Gabrielle could intensify into a Category 1 or Category 2 hurricane on the Saffir-Simpson scale, with winds between 120 km per hour and 160 km per hour. As for its track, most models agree Gabrielle is unlikely to head directly into the Caribbean or the U.S. East Coast. Instead, the storm is forecast to move northward, then curve northeastward into open waters east of Bermuda. This means Bermuda stands as the land area most at risk of direct impacts, particularly from late this week into early next week. Other areas such as the Bahamas, Florida's coast, or New England in the United States are expected to experience only indirect effects, mainly large waves and rough seas. The concerning point here is that, despite not making landfall on major Caribbean islands or the U.S. mainland, Gabrielle could still generate dangerous swells and rip currents, threatening maritime activities and beach tourism in the days ahead. Experts are therefore urging residents and visitors to pay close attention to marine advisories and not to underestimate ocean hazards. Heavy rains and flooding in the Caribbean, Bahamas. In parallel with Gabrielle's presence, ladies and gentlemen, a strong tropical disturbance is also generating widespread heavy rains across many Caribbean islands. Over the past 24 hours, islands such as Barbados, Dominica, Guadeloupe, Puerto Rico, the Virgin Islands, as well as northern parts of the Dominican Republic, Haiti, Jamaica, Cuba, and portions of Central America have endured repeated bouts of torrential downpours. Meteorological agencies report that rainfall totals in many areas have ranged from 50 to 100 millimeters, with some locations recording even higher amounts, leading to localized flooding. In Barbados, local authorities have issued flash flood warnings, while in Belize, warnings were issued over excessive rainfall and flood potential. These storms tend to be slow-moving and locally intense, meaning flood risks remain particularly high in low-lying regions, river valleys, and areas with poor drainage. Residents in flood-prone areas are advised not to attempt crossing inundated roads and to prepare essential measures for emergency response. Of particular note, Haiti and the Dominican Republic, with their steep mountainous terrain, face a heightened risk of landslides during prolonged heavy rains, increasing the danger for communities in vulnerable zones. Forecasts indicate that these intense thunderstorms will likely persist for another 24 to 36 hours before gradually easing by Sunday. However, even as rainfall lessens, the risk of scattered localized downpours will remain for the following 3 to 5 days. This means Caribbean weather conditions must continue to be closely monitored, and residents should not become complacent. Weather update in Canada. While the Caribbean grapples with storms and rain, Canada is experiencing a distinct seasonal shift from late summer into early fall. A cold air mass from the north is beginning to push southward, bringing significant temperature changes across a wide area. In eastern provinces such as Ontario, Quebec, and the Maritimes, temperatures in recent days have stayed high, some places reaching 28 degrees Celsius, with a real feel temperature as high as 33 degrees Celsius due to high humidity. However, by the weekend, a drier and cooler air mass will move in, dropping temperatures sharply to between 16 degrees Celsius and 20 degrees Celsius. Residents will notice a clear shift to cooler, more comfortable conditions compared to the recent muggy heat. In Toronto and the Great Lakes region, scattered thunderstorms are expected in the coming days, especially near the Michigan border, the Greater Toronto Area, and the Niagara Valley. However, these storms are likely to be short-lived and localized. Meanwhile, in Western Canada, particularly British Columbia, after enduring record-breaking heat, conditions are now changing. Experts forecast increased rainfall this weekend, especially over plateau regions. Importantly, at higher elevations, as temperatures fall, the first snow of the season could appear, signaling that winter is approaching. This is a hallmark of Canada's transitional weather period. Overall, Canada's weather outlook in the coming days can be summarized in 3 points: sharp temperature drops, scattered thunderstorms, and the possibility of early season snow in the mountains. Residents are advised to follow local weather updates to plan their outdoor activities accordingly. Message to the public. Ladies and gentlemen, the global weather picture in recent days is strikingly diverse and full of volatility. In the Caribbean, heavy rains continue to bring floods and landslide risks, while out over the Atlantic, Tropical Storm Gabrielle may intensify as it heads toward Bermuda. Further north in Canada, weather is shifting along an entirely different track, with dropping temperatures heralding the arrival of autumn and the early signs of winter. All these developments highlight the complex and unpredictable nature of global climate, a reality made sharper by ongoing climate change. Each individual and community must strengthen their awareness of disaster preparedness, heed official advisories, and plan daily life activities with resilience in mind. We will continue to monitor closely the latest developments on Storm Gabrielle, the flooding situation in the Caribbean, and Canada's changing weather, so that we can bring you the fastest, most accurate, and most useful updates. Thank you for tuning in. We wish you health, safety, and readiness in facing any weather condition.